What's up, college football fans and Mean Green fans? Noe Vente here once again with the Mean Green Show today, joined by the clinically depressed Eagle at JD, and we're going to kind of recap this UNLV loss that North Texas just experienced. And before we get into all that, guys, if you're a fan of college football, G5 football, and any of the things that come with that, consider hitting that like and subscribe button because that's truly all that we talk about. All right. JD, thanks for jumping on with me. And I mean, some individual highlights. I mean, some individual good jobs, I guess. From the committee of running backs. Farkees obviously had his breakout game of the season thus far, so all that's fine and dandy and good. But when it's 58-27 against a team that went, what did UNLV go last year? 2-10.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not really a lot to celebrate, and I think it's fair to say that the seat got a lot hotter tonight, and for Coach Luttrell. And I mean, it's just, I don't think that's a bold take at all. And if you take a look at our schedule, we'll talk a little bit more about that. It doesn't really give you a lot of hope for the next couple of weeks if that's what is going to happen against UNLV. But anyway, JD, I mean, what are your thoughts initially? I know we're kind of fresh out of the game and probably a tad more emotional than when we usually do these things. So, but anyway, if you can kind of speak on some of the things you're thinking about currently.
Yeah, I mean, I think that anytime your team loses, it's frustrating. But the fact that when you're going against a team that was 2-10 last year, and then was able to go from a two-win team last year to throttling you by 30 points today. I mean, I think that's frustrating. And I think this was a game that we all marked at the first of the year as a win. And after what happened today, it's super frustrating. I think the frustrating part is there is talent at North Texas. It's not like when Seth took over. I mean, I think Gabe Brooks is a guy that I really respect in the recruiting world. He even said, like, this is a pretty talented. I mean, you look across the board: Jair Shorter, Oscar Attaway, Jake Roberts, pretty much everybody in the running back room. I'll just go ahead and name all those guys. But across the line, I mean, you've got Gabe Blair, Verkees
Manasseh, yeah,
Manasseh.
yeah. We go on and on.
Yeah. And so, I mean, the talent wise, I just don't think there's no way that UNLV, went from a 2-win team last year, and they got a ton of guys in the portal that they went from a 2-win team last year to overpowering us by 30 points. I think that's the frustrating part. And I think when you're in year 7 of a coach in today's world, they announced on the broadcast today, which we already kind of talked about, Seth Luttrell is the longest tenured coach in Texas college football, which is a crazy stat to think about. But in year 7, we don't have like moral victories. We're not given, oh, wow, we played really hard. We, running backs look good. I mean, I think that you just went and got your butt kicked by 30 points. Like there's no bright side to it. I mean, and it's not like a small sample size. Seth Luttrell teams have struggled on the road. And it's just like we're not nothing. It doesn't seem like it's changing. The curve's not changing. It's just kind of getting worse as we go along.
Yeah, and to anyone's watching who has a stake in this fire, jump in the comments below. We'd love to hear your thoughts on it, whether good or bad. If you can be optimistic, please share. My son's out there screaming right now. He saw me throw some stuff earlier, so I better just take a deep breath. But anywho, and what's really unfortunate about it all is, what was at stake here was UNT being 3-1, which, I mean, I realize we got railed by SMU, but that's still a 3-1 start. That's good. And, we could have come on here and said a lot of positive things had that been the case, but unfortunately it's not. 2-2, not, a 50-50 start. But then when you play Memphis next, and if that happens to you with UNLV, then I mean, Memphis is just statistically it's probably going to be worse. So, and then followed up by FAU and so on and so forth.
I'm pretty confident in saying that I think the next 5 opponents on North Texas' schedule are all better football teams than UNLV. I think all 5 teams we play next would have been able to go in there on the road and beat UNLV and not lose, by 31 points. I think that, it's not out of the realm of possibilities. I would actually feel pretty confident saying that I think in 5 weeks we are going to be looking at a 2-7 record.
All right. Can you elaborate on that? Okay, if you can just go down, I'll say the team. I'm gonna go just in order. Sorry about the dogs barking. And you just tell me
Every,
if you think it's a win or a loss.
the kids and the dogs are both frustrated right
It's
now.
yeah, it's
Everybody wants to talk about it right now.
it's yeah, hell's breaking loose over here. But anywho, all right, at Memphis.
Yeah, I mean that's a very very good American team. I think that's a future conference mate. But I think just Memphis the last few years. I mean they're going to be super physical along the front lines on both sides of the ball, and I just don't see North Texas being able to hang with them. And then the fact it's at Memphis, um, I wouldn't be surprised if they're 2 touchdown favorites. Going into the game.
Yeah, so guessing that's a loss from
Yeah,
your yeah. All
yeah.
right, so at Memphis, loss. Florida FAU coming to Denton.
Yeah, I mean they're playing Central Florida right now. Close. It's tied in the first quarter. They may get blown out, but I think Willie Taggart's a very good coach, and I think he's got FAU headed in the right direction. I think they're definitely trending up. Um, FAU's a team we've always had trouble with. We have been able to get some victories when they came to Denton. They're coming to Denton this year, but still, I mean, I just don't. The team that showed up in Las Vegas today, I don't think will be able to hang. I mean, I think that and we'll talk about the next game next. But I think this may be the second winnable game, if that's a word, the proper way to say it. But I still, like I said, I think FAU will be favorites on the road.
Yeah. Okay. So 2 losses. Louisiana Tech at Denton.
I mean, like I said, this could be the game that we do win out of the next 5. Um, but I mean, it's a new coach, Sonny Cumbie, first year head coach. So really not sure what to expect. But it seems like Louisiana always plays us tough, and I think Seth's record's 1-5 or 1-6 against La Tech. I mean, I know that all those games were against Skip Holtz, so um, I guess this is a new team, new slate, but probably the most winnable game of the next 5, but not going to be a blowout by any means. I don't think.
All right. So you say maybe a win there with La Tech.
That's the one game that I'm putting in the next 5 that
Okay.
UNT may be favored,
All
and
right. All right. So then I'm assuming you say at UTSA loss, at Western Kentucky loss. I'm trying to speak for you. I mean, I'm assuming that's
no,
what.
I mean those are I would say those are the 2 that played the conference championship last year. That's your
Yeah.
East and your West champion. I don't think. I mean, I know Western Kentucky lost some guys, but I still think they reloaded as well. And UTSA, as we're recording, they're starting against Texas, and um, I wouldn't be surprised if that's a one possession game tonight. So yeah,
Hmm.
I would say that those 2 are the leaders in the clubhouse in Conference USA right now.
Then FIU comes to Denton. Probably a win there, right?
All right.
Yeah. And then at UAB, probably a loss there.
Yeah.
And then Rice at the end. That's a toss up. Who do you think wins that one?
I mean, we've that's Rice. Like I said, Seth's made a living on beating the Rice, the FAUs, and the UTEPs of the world. So if that's Seth, I mean, I think if we go into that game and we're at that 3-4 win mark, I mean, I could see Seth Luttrell going out the last game of the Seth Luttrell era with a win against Rice or a close loss on a 4th down run play.
Yeah. So then that would put us at 5-7, right?
5-7, 4-8. That's where I'm at right
Yeah.
now.
All right. Well, that would probably put the nail in the coffin. I mean, I don't think there's any probably, but I think that would 4-8 or 5-7, one of those 2. That's all she wrote. I mean, I feel like that's not even debatable, really.
And like we talked about beforehand, I mean, in today's college football, I mean, Seth at 7 years, he's the longest tenured coach in Texas college football. Not as many people's had as long a leash as I guess he's had. Yeah, he's successful at the beginning, but we're in year 7. We've got no bowl game wins, no conference championships. I mean, and you look at the stats against the SMU's, the Louisiana Techs, the UABs, you know, it's disheartening. You know, and you see a guy like, you know, last week Scott Frost get with his alma mater, and when it seemed like his team was that close, you know, getting canned, you know, you it starts to run really short on being able to find excuses on why to keep Seth, I guess is the
Yeah.
point. And I've anybody that's followed me on Go Mean Green, I mean, or any of that stuff, I've been the biggest Seth homer since day one. But
Yeah.
it's just at this point, it's frustrating. The roster building, the play calling, the you know clock management. I mean, it's just seems like everything, and your team coming out on the road every time it seems like slow. I mean, it's just all this thing, and there's no change. It just seems like year in year out, it's the same thing. You win the games that you're supposed to win, and then the coin flip games you don't.
Yeah. Well, I mean that FAU game October 1st is probably going to be, I mean, there's been so many must wins, but that one's probably going to be your last must win. I mean, with just because if you could pull that off somehow, I mean, then you're
And as we're sitting here right now, you know, we are 1-0 in conference. I mean, everything,
yeah.
all the season goals are still in front of you. I mean, they could go undefeated conference, all that's still available.
Mm-hmm.
But watching a team today get throttled by a 2-win UNLV team last year is about as disheartening as I've been in the last 7 years with North Texas football. I mean, it's just
Yeah, it's
really concerning.
very much so. Well, all right, JD. I think we'll just kind of call it there. I mean, good job to all the players that did play well, and a lot of them did play well. So,
Yeah, and I
Varkey's
mean,
and
I'll just, like I said, reiterate: this team has talent. If they win out and Seth stays, hoorah! If they lose out and Seth leaves, if the coach that they hire comes in here and keeps the Varkeeses, the Jake Roberts, the Oscar Attaways, the Tom Troops, if you can keep those guys out of the portal, this North Texas team has got talent. I mean, it's
yeah,
not an empty cupboard. It's not like they're coming over here and taking over, a UNT team that just got throttled by Portland State. I mean, there is talent. It's just some mismanagement from up top, I guess.
yeah. All right, JD. Well, as always, go Mean Green.
Go Mean Green.